Okay, so I logged into Kotor on my phone because these are exactly the same character creation type setups as D&D, but a little bit more simplified. So here you have your fighter, right? This is the soldier, but it's the D&D fighter, which it basically says there. Um, so this one, I think, is the equivalent of a ranger, and that one's the equivalent of a rogue. We are going to go with a fighter, or in this case a soldier, but in D&D it would be called a fighter. Okay, you get here. We do not hit quick character here. We hit custom character. All right. Portrait. We don't care what we look like. Your portrait is not limited in D&D because you're just describing a character. You might get a piece that is custom painted. Now, this part is a little different, but these are all the same stats as you would see in D&D. Right? You're going to roll different types of stats. It's done with dice. You're not going to have 30 starting points to distribute at some kind of weird, but the modifiers are the same. Notice how my strength is at 8 and the modifier is at -1. The modifier being kind of in the top right. Ignore the point cost thing. Same thing if I go to dexterity. Modifier is at -1. If I go up by 1 on strength here, right, and this tells you, right, it's the measure of your physical power, adds modifiers to melee damage. So, for instance, if I were to use a melee weapon and I were to throw let's say that my attack was on one normal 6-sided dice, a 1d6, right? If I were to throw 2d6, that means I use 2 6-sided dice. I throw them both. A d6 is a 6-sided die. All right, so let's say it's on 1d6, right? I roll a 3, well, I take 1 away from that 3 because my strength is low enough that my modifier would be -1. If for whatever reason I had a 6, unlikely to ever happen, but let's say that I had a 6, my modifier would be -2. All right, here's what we're going to do. We up this. Now notice when I went to 9, the modifier stayed at -1. When I go to 10, it goes to 0, right? So now if I rolled that same if I rolled, say, a 3 and my modifier was -1, I would go to 2. If it's -0, then I go, I just stay at 3. Right? If I go to 11, nothing changes. Go to 12, +1, right? So then I would get 4, right? My strength adds to my dice roll. 17, right? I'm +3. Why? Because 10 is 0, right? 10 gives me a 0 modifier, and then every 2 after that. So 12 gave me a +1, 14 gave me a +2, 16 gave me a +3, but I have to go all the way to 18 to get my +4, and you'll notice it won't let me go above 18 in this particular setup. And it's the same thing here, right? My wisdom. This is used for your force powers as a Jedi. Depending on your class in D&D, you might use intelligence, like a mage in D&D uses intelligence based on the idea that they would have learned their spells from book learning, that kind of thing. Charisma, right? As a matter of fact, I'll just let you read these. Dexterity, right? Measure of agility, reflexes, etc. Constitution, this is like your vitality, but it also gives you like a stamina bar. Intelligence will decide your intelligence, but also your book learning, that kind of thing. Wisdom is going to be spells for some of the other classes that have more innate magic abilities. Your charisma is going to be how much effect you have on other people. So if you want to convince people of something, or how likely are people to follow you, etc. So anyway, I hope that helps, and I'll post this here in a second if I can.